Hey folks, this is Jake Davis bringing you my top 5 picks for the best directors of 2019. This is my third of 6 videos cataloging the year's end or New Year's end, best of the year kind of stuff. You know how it goes. So, let's go and get into it. My number 5 is going to be the Russo brothers, Anthony and Joe, for Avengers Endgame. I think it's really interesting because you see, before Winter Soldier, these guys were just really known for, like, they did a few episodes of Community. They directed Me, Myself, and Irene. And, everybody just kind of thought the movie was going to suck because they got these nobodies to direct it. And then you look between Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and now Endgame. It's like, Jesus Christ, these guys have done, like, MCU's best movies. And with a world with so many superpowered characters and all these visual effects and digital backlots and all that kind of stuff, they really seem to understand the importance of maintaining as much as rough and tumble, toe-to-toe, fisticuffs type of stuff in the movies they possibly could. And with of course, Endgame, here's the biggest movie of all time. And it's kind of, not only is it the first time a superhero movie has held that honor, or a sequel, I believe, has ever been the first time that it's been the number one movie of all time. But it's definitely the first time co-directors, especially brothers, held this honor. And good for them. I had a little bit of problems with Endgame when it first came out. Still gave it 5 stars. Still think it's fucking excellent, great movie. But I think I just thought Infinity War was better. The first part was a better part. Anyhow, number 4, say Robert Rodriguez for Alita: Battle Angel. I'm really holding out hope that Alita picks up an Oscar nomination for Best Visual Effects. Just get some kind of appreciation for its greatness. Now I know that this was based on an anime, but just so much of this, I kind of went, when I saw it, I kind of felt bad. How much of this is faithful, because this feels so purely Rodriguez. Just so much of his kind of wild imagery and interesting characters. The way he was able to, and Alita is one of my favorite characters of the year. But the world building and the character building, it felt like it was a movie that almost feels like it's rushing through things, but isn't, or doesn't ultimately have that kind of whiplash or shutter speed kind of effect. You know what I mean? I loved it. Number 3, I would say Todd Phillips for Joker. I, in all honesty, wasn't even, I was suspicious this movie was even real when they were working on it. Even when the trailers were coming out, I was like, okay. I was half expecting, even sitting in the movie theater, in line at the theater going to get my fucking ticket, half expecting the box office to laugh at me, going, you think this is a real fucking movie, or are you stupid? I just thought, I was pseudo-convinced it was this massive fucking prank. Because it wouldn't be the first time Joaquin Phoenix had done something weird like that before. But as far as, with Phillips, I already felt that he had shown that he could handle recreating a period with Starsky and Hutch. He did a very good job with that. And, I love his films, old school, and, The Hangover is one of the best comedies ever. And, Joker just, not only, there's all the little things in it. It feels like such a, even though it's kind of does its own thing, at the same time feels like such a comic book story. Kind of like an Elseworld kind of thing they would do, especially with the movie homages. Comic books do shit like that all the time. It has the vibe and feel of a movie like Taxi Driver. But his obsession with the Murray Franklin shows right out of the King of Comedy. His first time he kills people was very, very reminiscent of multiple sequences, in at least a sequence in Death Wish. And then, there's that ending itself. The Murray Franklin show is so captivating. And, the worst thing about this movie is now it's like, between the Nolan trilogy, Batman vs. Superman, and now using that, the Murray Franklin sequence, is like everything that was cool and memorable about Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns has been used in the movies now. So it's like, there's no point of them ever making that movie, and that kind of sucks, because that would have been a cool movie. That would have been a really, really great movie. Number 2, Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. Parasite was one of those movies, is like, I watched the movie literally the day I heard of it. And it, to date is, I mean, I mean, like, just towers over any other video I have on YouTube as far as, view count. I mean, last time I checked, I had over 350 views for my video, for my review of Parasite. I loved it. I thought it was a captivating, great movie, and brilliant balance of dark humor and shocking actions. I mean, shocking behavior, which do escalate to shocking violence. Amazing performances from one and all for a film. I mean, it's it's a foreign language film, and if you have a problem watching foreign language movies, don't like reading subtitles, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I think if you gave this movie a shot, I think you'd still love this movie. I really do. But I mean, there's no getting around it. It is a foreign language movie, and it's a very long movie. It's over 2.5 hours long, but it's masterful and it's rewarding. And it is, I mean, it is one of the finest films of the year, and it's one of the most successful foreign language films of the decade, I believe, and definitely of this year. And I would like to see it get nominated for Best Picture. I'm hoping it gets nominated for Best Picture, and I think it would be a great representation to be the first foreign language film to win Best Picture, if that were to occur. And my number 1, my winner, the finest director of the year, is easily Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because as brilliant as Todd Phillips and Bong Joon-ho's work was on that, Tarantino is a master filmmaker, and I think this is his best movie. I really do. Tarantino's films have always been funny and quotable, but with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, we finally get Tarantino's outright, in-your-face, unapologetic comedy. This is a comedy. And, you know, sure, there is if you've seen the movie, there's no way, everyone wants to talk about that ending. That last 5-10 minutes of the movie is just so shocking. But in a good way. But just so much, I mean, the entire film before that is really just a series of conversations. These guys talking about this. You know, Cliff and Rick have a conversation, then Rick goes and talks about a project, and then Cliff goes and talks to some hippies, and then Rick and Cliff have another conversation, and rinse and repeat. It's of all of Tarantino's films, it's probably the most meandering. But I thought it had some of his best performances, some of his best characters, and then there's the visuals. This movie is beautiful, and it's so colorful, and he's showing off everything in this film. I mean, the camera, it's not like it lingers on like art direction, like scenery shots, art direction, and photography and costumes. It doesn't, like I said, doesn't linger on that stuff, but you definitely get plenty to look at, plenty of eye candy. It's so beautiful. It's such a pretty fucking film. I got some honorable mentions. I thought David F. Sandberg did a terrific job with Shazam. Not only was Billy Batson's story told properly, but I thought it was a brilliant decision. Always a smarter decision when you do an action movie that's going to have a little tongue-in-cheek in it, to not play your villains for laughs. I mean, look at example Guardians of the Galaxy. The Guardians are funny as hell, but Ronan ain't. John Watts' work on both Spider-Man films, Far From Home, he did a terrific job. He had to follow Homecoming. He had to somehow manipulate you into thinking Mysterio wasn't the bad guy, even though you know he's the bad guy. Excuse me. And also, while I'm on, check out his 2015 indie film, Cop Car, starring Kevin Bacon. Great movie. Robert Eggers' work on on The Lighthouse. I almost nominated him, but I wanted to acknowledge the Russos. But Eggers, he has such diligence with both camera work and authenticity of dialogue. It's with only two films of his I've seen. I gotta praise the man's diligence, absolutely, if nothing else. Andy Muschietti, It Chapter 2 was, I think the only movie from this whole year my wife's gotten to see. She runs her own business, so she doesn't have a lot of downtime. Poor thing. Sam Mendes with 1917. I love 1917, and I gave it a rave review yesterday or the day before. It was the day before. It was still 2019. But the thing is, it's not that. I mean, he fills the screen up with beauty and action and intensity. There's something to look at every second of that movie. But with the advantages of digital editing in the digital age, shooting a film and the illusion of one shot, even with Birdman, as much as I love Birdman, it's just not the same challenge it was in Hitchcock's age, or even the same challenge it would have been 20 years ago. I thought Jordan Peele just did a terrific job creating just an insane world and concept for us, even though I thought that the twist was so ridiculously obvious that, I mean, you could even go to that movie when they reveal it almost take you by surprise. You'd be like, it's so obvious, you realize, wait, was that supposed to be a surprise? Was that supposed to be a twist? So I figured that out in the first fucking scene. And Guy Ritchie for Aladdin. I know a lot of people didn't like Aladdin, but I thought Aladdin was an absolute blast. I had a great time watching the movie. No, it's not as good as the 92 movie. It's not as good as The Thief of Baghdad. But I thought Will Smith was great in it, and Guy Ritchie's, his sets and his actions and his handling of characters and his appreciation for the songs in the original film all bounced together really well. And, shit, man, the guy stepped out of his comfort zone and made a huge fucking blockbuster. And that film is just, it towers over the dog shit of Dumbo and The Lion King. I hated those, especially The Lion King. Anyhow, that's my list. That's my picks for the best directors of the year. What y'all think about this? Who did you like? I forgot to say something about Robert Rodriguez. When that film came out, Alita came out, all I heard was people praising James Cameron. James Cameron didn't make the fucking movie. A producer and a director, y'all. And look, I love The Terminator. I love the fucking Terminator. I thought Avatar was alright. True Lies is pretty cool. Aliens is awesome. But for all the filmmakers who have the Emperor's New Clothes situation, that kind of fatigue, or what the fuck word I'm looking for? Mystique about them. I don't get it with James Cameron. His movies are cool. His movies are big, but he's just, he's slightly more intellectual than Michael Bay, y'all. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Now, I like Michael Bay's movies. I ain't proud. Anyhow, hope y'all like this video. I'm Jake Davis. I'll catch you on the flight. Halfway home, baby. 3 more to go.